this has a Sport mode. It's a hybrid with a Sport mode. Wait a minute, it also has a Sport Plus mode.
Sport Plus?
Sport Plus
Hey.
in a hybrid.
Yes.
That's exciting. We
like-
have the fully loaded, because of course we do, press car of the Toyota Crown. This is the Platinum.
Platinum,
which
baby.
is actually almost unlike every other trim below it.
Well, you know, when this came out, I gagged at first.
Okay.
Didn't like it.
All right.
Didn't want it.
Okay.
Didn't want anything to do with it.
Okay.
Thought, what is Toyota doing?
Okay.
And I have completely changed my mind.
You and I are not going to agree in this interview.
We are not.
We are not going to agree.
Make a stand. I will make a case.
Good. Excellent.
Yes, the new Crown, the Platinum.
Mhm.
This is a hybrid, the Hybrid
Yes.
Max.
Mhm.
There's different flavors of this, 3 to be exact. There's 3 different trim levels, but we're in the Platinum version, which means a 2.4-liter turbocharged inline 4 combined with an E rear axle, so an electric motor in the rear axle. Whereas the Hybrid, they have 2 electric motors actually and a 2.5-liter engine. So a little bit different powertrains. One is very much pointed at MPG.
MPG above all in the lower trims. This
lower
is the
trims.
sporty one. Again, it's got Sport Plus.
And even the color is heavy metal because it's a platinum, so you get
went
it
there.
now, right?
You went there, right, yeah.
Great cars, great roads, and all the reasons we love to drive. Road trips, comparisons, test drives, and podcasts. This is Everyday Driver.
And this
Platinum
this
heavy
is
metal,
the,
baby.
The Hybrid Max version, which makes the powertrain related to what you're seeing in the new upcoming trucks from Toyota, like the Tacoma
Yes.
and the Land Cruiser. They've got this same 2.4-liter hybrid system, executed a little bit differently, but it's all the same kind of tech being used to make this upper-level trim, which I will say this, for this version of the Crown, surprisingly fast. Surprisingly
It's very
agile,
quick.
and the power's like, wow.
Torque fill. Well, it's got 340 horsepower and 400 combined pound-feet of torque. 400. You wouldn't look at this and think 400. Nobody looks at this and thinks it's 400 because you can jackrabbit away from the stoplight.
Yeah.
You're gone.
It's
I think it said Crown on the back. What's a Crown?
What was that? Yeah.
Well, it hasn't been in the States for a while.
Toyota has made the Crown in Japan as like the Lexus but with a Toyota badge forever. This is the 16th generation of the Crown name, the 16th gen, but they haven't sold it in the U.S. since the 70s, so 50 years.
That's crazy.
But what I think of when
Wow.
I think of the Crown from Toyota, because they've wiped away the Avalon. The Avalon no longer exists, which was essentially just buy a Lexus anyway. They got rid of the Avalon. They've replaced it with the Crown, okay? But considering the history of that name, which, look, I'm sorry this is my reference point, but I'm going to go there. It's like the Phaeton was for Volkswagen. It was the super classy...
Is that bad?
No. I'm saying this is a good thing. It was the super classy car you don't expect from the mid-grade brand.
Okay.
The Toyota Crown was like that. It was the upscale and it got used a lot. We can never speak the name of a car in the car anymore because it always wakes the car up.
Never say the name.
It was the upscale car in the lineup.
Yeah.
And it also got used as an executive class car and a taxi and many, many other things. So I expected to get into this and find just like, wow, this is so nice to be in. And it's $56,000.
55, just over 55.
And it's fine interior-wise. With the Toyota Crown
Fine.
name, I wanted to be impressed. And I'm like, okay, all right.
But it's never been a Lexus.
No.
And the Toyota badge can't be a Lexus here because there is Lexus here.
True.
So you wanted more pointed towards Lexus than it is.
But
and that was your expectation.
At 55, you can buy an IS, which I think is
Yeah.
better to drive and nicer and has a Lexus badge,
Yeah.
which is a problem. These seats are actually great. The seats are very good.
Seats are good. Yeah.
The headroom, I'm touching.
Are you?
I'm
Well,
touching.
you've got the abnormally long
and I
torso.
can't go any lower.
Yeah.
Why is there not more space in the Crown? Especially considering historic name.
I'm all
Brought
ears.
back to the U.S.
I am made of questions.
This is what happens when you tack a historic name to what a focus group says the world would like.
Okay.
This should be a really nice, classy sedan. And it is a
Okay.
sedan for a world that really wants an SUV.
Yes.
It is a jacked up sedan.
Yes.
But it doesn't have lots of headroom or a hatch or anything that you typically would get when you jump up to an SUV.
Yes.
So it would have been better as a normal ride height, a little bit more spacious, actual sedan versus this weird middle ground between Toyota wants to make the Crown a sedan because it always has been, but the focus group says we should make an SUV. You know what we'll do? This thing which is neither of the above and doesn't do either well enough. This is a focus group car. It is a successful car from a focus group, but the focus group didn't know what they wanted, because focus groups rarely do. Just make a really, really great sedan, Toyota. The Camry is great. The Camry is an excellent sedan. Do me a better Camry. Do me a Camry so good that I go, why would I buy a Lexus?
And call it the Avalon?
But the Avalon felt like a low-grade Lexus.
It was a low-grade Lexus.
Exactly. I'm talking about make me something from the Camry lineup that feels like, why would I buy Lexus?
But they'd walk you over to Lexus and
put
be like,
the Crown
look,
name
Lexus.
on that. The only thing I can really see here that is a major, you can't get this anywhere else point, is this is an all-wheel drive hybrid, and that is a hard combination. It's not available that way in the Camry.
That's
the Camry
true.
hybrid is not all-wheel drive. So you got an all-wheel drive hybrid. That is a selling point. Otherwise, we have not an SUV for SUV people, not a sedan for sedan people. It's neither of the above, and I think it is a fail.
Really?
I think it is a swing and a miss. I know you don't agree, which is what I'm excited about, but this is a focus group failure.
Well, let's see what we can do here. Let's see. I don't think this was a focus group car. I think Toyota has recognized that every luxury manufacturer and non-luxury manufacturer of SUVs has started doing to try to capture a customer that Toyota just went in and said, boom, we got the Crown name. It hasn't been in North America for a long time. We can resurrect the Crown name, but also not resurrect it, but push it forward. Okay. And this is what the new Crown means, because yeah, they do have Lexus. If you want something as luxurious as a Lexus, go buy a Lexus.
Okay.
The Porsche Cayenne Coupe.
Also a car that I think is a disaster. Moving on, sorry.
The Audi Q8 e-tron.
Okay.
The Volkswagen Atlas Sportback.
Yes.
The BMW X6.
You're listing a bunch of cars, I don't know why they exist. You're listing a bunch of them.
Those sell. People are buying them.
They do.
The Mercedes GLE and GLC Coupe.
Yes.
They are an SUV body with a sedan greenhouse.
Yeah, you're right. With a coupe top. You're right.
The entire project brief was to make this capture sales, of course.
Yeah.
I think the focus group has already happened just by virtue of sales, just by Toyota watching where people put their money into. I think that's really the focus group.
Everybody wants an SUV. We'd like to sell a sedan. We're going to make a Sedan-UV?
Yeah, I kind of like that. But people like the low kind of feeling, but they also like to sit up high.
I climbed out of this yesterday. I opened the door and I subconsciously put my foot far enough down to touch the pavement, and I was still hovering in midair.
And you were
then I had to put my foot down another 3 or 4 inches to get to the pavement. That's how much this seems like a sedan until you discover SUV body roll and isn't a sedan because it's got a SUV ride height.
This is a good thing, because I think this is what people want. And all these other car manufacturers, they had the SUV first. And then they did the coupe shape, and everybody's going, why? You already had the SUV. It's got more space. You got it already. Drives the same as the same. Toyota has just come out swinging. The Avalon's gone away, because you're right, it is a low-rent Lexus.
Yes.
What could we do with the Crown? And put it on the Toyota new global architecture, so it's not an SUV already to begin with, but it can share all those SUV underpinnings and make it a unique style.
If you're watching because you want the Crown or any family sedan, you need Autotempest.com to search all the car markets and even research dealers. Autotempest helps you search nationwide across all the used car sites, including Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace. Plus, you can get email alerts so you never miss a listing.
We use it to research for our podcast, to search for crazy road trip cars, and just because we like to dream. And Autotempest can even help with new cars, pricing out the options and getting local dealer quotes. So if you're shopping for Toyota sedans, Camrys, Crowns, or a Lexus, Autotempest.com/everyday can get you the help you need. Autotempest. All the cars, one search.
Points for style. What other car company is doing blacked out roofs or blacked out hoods or blacked out front and rear fascias? I can't think of anybody. They're trying stuff here. And they've got this hybrid powertrain to go with it, but in the Platinum, you want more power. It needs to drive better. I got in and I saw Sport Plus.
Sport Plus is shocking.
Why would this have Sport Plus? What are you telling me as the customer?
Totally.
Sport Plus. I mean, Sport, good. Sport Plus, there's more? There's more to be had, more to be found?
Agreed. Surprising.
So ultimately, the biggest point for doing it this way is that this leaves more opportunity. It doesn't just put it in sedan category. You could make the GR Crown. We could make the TRD Crown.
Grr Crown.
We could make the Safari Crown. We could
no.
make a full electric Crown.
No,
We could
stop.
make a full gas Crown. There's so much more that you can do with this platform and this architecture, and reintroducing this for future models. I think that's a better business case and use of dollars and use of reintroducing a brand name to be able to do it instead of just the new sedan. Well, the sedan is the sedan is the sedan. I've had nothing but compliments in everybody who's seen this.
Really?
Nothing but compliments.
I think it's ugly.
From everybody that thinks, oh, you didn't get a Tesla. Good job. You didn't buy a Tesla.
Sure.
This feels like a real car, and it's a hybrid. Oh, you get still pretty decent mileage. I mean, it's not great. If you really want the mileage, get the non-platinum version.
You have to get the lower version, which has less power and is less interesting.
does.
And it gets 30 miles to the gallon, and I'll throw out a complete and utter wild card.
Great.
You know what else gets 30 miles to the gallon?
Oh, lots.
I know, but the Alpha Giulia all-wheel drive. You want
Okay.
all-wheel drive sedan that drives well?
Sure.
Better than this across the board?
Sure,
More
for
interesting,
sure.
better to look at, all of the above. Is actually a sedan, 30 miles to the gallon. This isn't
people
so
sit up high here.
profound. Yes, and I don't think that makes
it-
any sense.
Totally agree, but that's what people are buying, and Toyota knows
fair
that.
point, fair point.
So you want to sit up high and have that high ride height, but that low greenhouse? That's a winner. I
I'd
think
like
they're
to
going
have the worst
sell-
of both worlds, please.
I think they're going to sell more of these. I'm not saying this is what I want. I'm not saying this is for me
You
or
just
for
think
you.
it's a victory, yeah.
I just think Toyota's really reading their customer and reading the market really well,
You're
and
probably
using the
right.
Crown to their advantage to give an enormous trunk. And the fact that it isn't an SUV, and people go, that looks sporty. And I'm thinking, no, it doesn't. Sporty? What? Our definitions are way off. But if you think it's sporty, then you're going to buy it, and you're going to buy it over an SUV, despite other SUVs being capable of things that are mind-warping, like world-bending. Like,
Yeah.
you can't believe SUVs can do the things they can do, and they shouldn't. But this looks sporty. It has that perception. And now with this kind of torque, you can just leave people 21-inch wheels. And to get rid of that visual body side height, they do this blacked-out shape right in
Yeah.
the middle of the doors.
Yeah.
And then blacking out the hood and blacking out the roof. It's actually a fixed glass roof. And then the front and rear fascias. Totally different. They're trying stuff. So points for trying. And people are looking at this going, crap, is that a new model? I'm thinking, no, they've just reintroduced it and they've done really well. And it's not a truck. It doesn't feel like a truck.
Okay.
It's not the sportiest thing ever. But I think they're going to sell a lot of these. I think it's a winner. I'm looking at it as if I were a manager or CEO or
Yes.
writing the design brief, or
They
we
are
want,
quietly
we want to
applauding while they
pull
watch.
money
Yeah,
out of the
yeah.
customer. If it were just up to the car idiots, it'd just be like a land of sports cars. We'd have like MR21, MR22, MR23. We'd have all the MR2s. We'd have all the Supras and all the cool GR everything, and we wouldn't make as much money. Because we'd be running the show, and
But
it'd be
you
like,
know what?
duh.
We've had a lot of Toyotas that we really like of late. Many times we prefer the hybrid version of a Toyota model that's offered both ways.
Yes.
My struggle here, the one that really does hybrid, is the lower trim that you probably don't want. You get into this upper trim, you've spent 55 grand plus,
Okay.
where there's a lot of competition, and you didn't get mileage that makes the hybrid worth it. So at that point, I'm just
Fair,
like, I would
fair.
buy a different sedan. And while I
Okay,
struggle
okay.
with everybody's only selling SUVs and this isn't, I do like that. It's got a cavernous trunk. It looks like it's got a hatch. It doesn't. It's just got a trunk, and the
Many
trunk is enormous.
bodies.
I cannot overstate.
A lot of bodies.
Yes, this is a mob car. I am telling you, they don't have Lincolns anymore, but they buy a Toyota Crown,
A lot of
and
bodies.
they're going to put all the bodies in the back of this thing. You took out the entire opposing crew, and they're all in the back. It's going to smell fast, but they're all fitting back there. Tons of space in the
Oh my
back.
gosh.
I mean, decent leg room. The headroom's
Yeah.
actually not great, but that's that coupe shape.
That's the greenhouse. That's
Big,
the sedan
trunk.
greenhouse here. Yeah.
This, you're going to get more usable space out of this than a lot of 5-seat SUVs. I'll give it points there. But sedans should have that kind of space. The Hybrid Max is now actually a performance badge, not an economical badge on this car. You have to get the lower hybrid to actually get economy. And now if you're shopping kind of quasi-performance sedan, I go elsewhere with my 55 grand. And I don't think this looks attractive. I'm not everybody.
I've totally reversed myself because I
Interesting.
think this has given Toyota a completely new opportunity to do other things and really have a Toyota flavor about it. This looks like no other car company's new model.
That's true.
And
That's true.
It captures those dollars. Well, I don't really want an SUV. Everybody has an SUV. We complain about silver SUVs.
This is not
all
that.
my neighbors have white or silver
Yep,
SUVs.
this is not that.
That's why it will sell. And it still
right.
gives you a car feeling when you're in here, even though you're sitting up too high. Then the exterior is like, wow, well, I've got a good ride height, a giant trunk, and You know, some good ground clearance, kind of like an SUV. Best of both worlds.
I don't understand the sit up high thing, but I know there's a lot of people that
I
want
don't
it.
love it. But again, I look at this from a total like design, marketing brief. Everything's come together. Magic in a bottle, genie in a bottle, you know, lightning in a bottle, lightning in a bottle.
Lightning in a bottle.
Lightning in a bottle.
Crown in a bottle. I want a revolution. I don't want to be under the crown anymore. There's my joke. I don't want to be under the crown. Nope. Nope. I am getting out and you're driving. I just,
Okay.
nope.
All right.
See, that's to be where the ground is. That's where the ground is.
Yeah, it's really hidden. They put an extra piece. Excellent use of materials and style in here. This feels like a real interior, and it's still
Yeah.
a very usable screen.
It's very
And
good.
the best part is all the great reuse of already existing parts presented in a new way. The screen is the same as everything else. All those buttons are the same as the Grand
We
Highlander,
have-
the Highlander, the
We have
everything.
a long-term Prius right now. It's all the exact same
Yes.
buttons, which works.
Gosh, I recognize that shift
Yes,
knob. I
for sure.
recognize the shift pattern here. I recognize all these buttons. Yep, great.
Here's
And it's
the thing.
presented in a fresh way.
It's done high-end enough originally that it can be in here in the 50 grand range and not feel cheap. I struggle with this so much. You remember the Simpsons reference for you? Remember the Homer car?
What
was
smells like steak and
everything-
seats 35?
no, that was the Canyonero.
Oh, that was the Canyonero.
Totally different thing. The Homer
right.
was Homer becomes the reference for a new kind of car. And he
yeah.
tells the designers everything he wants, and they put it all in, and it doesn't work because it's too much of everything. I feel like this is, I want a sedan, but I want an SUV, but I want a hybrid, but I want to go fast. You can't have all of those. And they tried to cram it into this one car, and while I think it's actually a successful execution of all of those things at once, I don't think all of those things need to be together.
I like it because it's so non-traditional.
Yeah, I see that.
It
I see
doesn't
that.
adhere to anything
Yeah,
what cars
yeah.
should be. Is it a car? Is it an SUV? I don't know what to tell people.
Sedan-UV.
I don't know.
I think that's where we're
Sure.
going. It's a Sedan-UV. Yeah.
Pick a name, make up a word.
Yep.
I don't care.
Yep.
Put the crown badge on it. There we go. It's that thing with wheels.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, that's fair.
It looks sporty to some people. It looks utility to others. It looks like you could send it 200 yards off a cliff, off a dune. Sure, it's
Yeah.
got the ground clearance.
It does look like you could rally it, which is inexplicable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Make a safari version of this thing, and people will buy that. Put giant plastic fender flares on it. Yes. Lower it just a little bit, and people are like, "Huh, is that a sporty SUV sedan?" Yes.
I am amazed at how
yes to all of it.
different this is in platinum trim from all of the lower trims.
It's
Because
I think it's the one you want.
I
if you're buying
think
a crown, get the platinum.
I saw a lower trim recently, and it looked like a rental car in a bad way, like the low rent rental car.
hate those design
And-
moves. Make it look like a rental.
And here's the thing, that has the smaller engine, but this is how much less power it has. That has 236 horsepower.
I was doing 87.
Yeah, it's easy to do. The lesser ones have an eCVT, which we don't like. This has an actual 6-speed auto, which is impressive.
Which
with
is
paddles,
great. Yes.
Which is nice.
Yes.
This is hybrid setup, not for MPG, but for performance. Because this has almost half as much power in the normal lesser trims.
Yeah.
163 pound-feet of torque. This has
In the lower
just
trims, yeah.
over double that.
Yeah.
When I think of Toyota hybrid, I think of what's my gas mileage going to be? Gas mileage is okay. 30's okay. 30's not bad for a big
Sure.
sedan, but it's also not great. This is MPG around a lot of other sedans, especially on the highway.
Yeah.
But it gets you performance as the trade-off. That's what the hybrid max badge means versus look at the efficiency.
Yeah,
That's an
and
interest.
it's-
Again, that's another like mix and match thing that's happened on this car.
And it kind of looks like a car, but it weighs the same as an SUV.
4,300 pounds.
Yeah, it's not
That's
light.
a lot.
Yeah.
And we're sitting up high, which means we do SUV kind of handling things. Now, it has a fairly quick steering rack.
Fairly
like
quick
in the
rack, yeah.
mid-13s.
Yes.
And the turning circle is less than 20 feet, which for a car this big is nothing.
Mine Sport.
You
No, I was in Sport
you were
Plus.
Sport
Okay,
Plus.
good.
Yeah, that's
Good.
why you were going so fast and didn't know it. So,
now
I
I'm
mean,
good.
good use of space, cavernous, body-filling trunk. This is the new Mafia mobile. Maybe that's who it's for. Maybe I just didn't connect.
Plus, you can roll silent for a
Because
little while.
I'm not a made man.
Yeah.
The crown has been made. That's where I'm
There
going.
we go.
Yeah,
I
I
like
don't know.
that. The adaptive suspension gives this a good ride. There are some bumps that this kind of crashes over, and that's because of the extra weight and the 21. So
Yeah.
that's the recipe for like, wow, I just felt that expansion joint that I'm not used to feeling.
But the lower trims
do
don't
it.
have adaptive suspension. That's the thing.
No,
This
no.
platinum trim is the one that makes all the sense and is still confusing.
I like it because it's confusing. I like it because it's so non-traditional, and Toyota has just whipped the sheet off. They've just kind of thrown caution to the wind and been like, let's just do something totally different. And big points for that.
Okay.
For me,
All right.
just because it's not another sedan. What if the Crown had come back and it was like another nicely styled sedan, and we would have said, why don't you just go buy a Lexus?
Well, but that's the thing. With that Crown name, it demands that they elevate it some, and I think the possibility exists. Like the Volkswagen Phaeton for Volkswagen, where's Toyota's car that you can't believe is a Toyota badge and you can't believe is that nice? But clearly,
I think it's
research
this.
was done, and they don't think they can sell that, so they're selling this.
I mean, it doesn't feel low rent by
Not
any
at all.
stretch.
Not
it's
at
just,
all.
no, it's not as luxurious, but then again, Lexus.
But
they've kind of made it a delineation. I'm kind of digging it. It's not the car for me. It's not sporty, but you're going to surprise people. And for the buyer who doesn't want yet another SUV, like, what are we going to get? This is the car where Toyota's like, don't leave the showroom. I've got something new to show you.
You don't like our sedans? You don't like our SUVs?
Yes.
You need a Crown.
Yes, exactly. People will be like, now what's this? I've never heard of the Crown, even though it's got a long history.
They're going to have it in like a special little room by
Yes.
itself where they can just drop all the curtains
Sure.
at once. Yes.
It's like Magnolia inside Best Buy. Let's go over there and look at the expensive stuff.
No.
Yes.
Make it stop.
I've got the Crown. It gives dealers something to sell using existing Toyota technology, which is excellent, and gives something that still appeals to what buyers want, and yet it's got a fresh look to their eye. That's what good design is all about. That is what good design capturing money is all about.
I can't wait for it to go away. That's how I feel. I just don't get it.
You'll feel like
and
a
there's-
king when you've got the Crown.
Oh, stop.
Yeah, you'll feel like sitting up high.
Heavy is the Crown.
Heavy lies the head that drives the Crown.
It is heavy.
It is
4,300 pounds.
Yeah.
I'm impressed with how Toyota is repackaging their stuff in a new way and still making it seem interesting. I will take your point on all of that.
It's fresh and new, and yet they're.
This is the answer to
good
the
business
question no
case.
one asked.
I think they're going to sell though,
Oh.
and people will be like, "I didn't know that I wanted that."
I don't think you still want it, but whatever.
It's not a sports
not.
car. It's not an SUV.
It's not anything you're going to list. It's not that. It's just
No.
its own little weirdness.
which makes it super cool and different for me.
Okay.
Cool, not super cool. Different.
See, now you're coming to my side. Come to the dark side
Just like-
because the Crown is not working. No. Freedom from the Crown.